Good morning to everyone. So this session we're going to see the starting of this second unit. So before entering into the main content of the second unit, I would like to use some introduction about limits, fits, and tolerances because we are doing the measurement, and while measuring we have to consider these limits, fits, and tolerances, and you have to ensure that these terms are exactly followed in the finished component, right? So every engineer should understand these terms of limits, fits, and tolerances from the design engineer and manufacturing engineer and quality control engineer. In these three sectors, design, manufacturing, and quality, and these three sectors, you have to use the measurement to indicate the dimensions and ensure how to come up with the dimensions and ensure the dimensions. So exact dimension, what the particular components are made, right? So this measurement, the measurement is very important. The term measurement is, so here in this subject also, because we are going to use different instruments for measuring different quantities. You have to exactly understand how these dimensions are indicated and in the drawing, and we have to study it, right? We have to measure it, we have to study the machine and machine drawing, and exactly you have to check it whether the particular dimensions are replicated in the actual fabricated component. So these terms are very important to understand before entering into the main theme of these other learning about the other measuring instruments. So what is the need of these limits, fits, and tolerances? There are no two parts can be produced with identical measurements, right? By a manufacturing process. We are following different manufacturing process, and we are why this manufacturing process we are producing the different components, and different products are made up of various kinds of components. For example, automobiles. In automobile or car, for example, car, it contains numerous components. So all components are not served as a single component. We have to join them. We have to join them and make it as a single component, and they will function as a single component, right? And for joining them, many ways are available. Permanent joining, non-permanent joining, methods are available. Otherwise, we have to transform the energy, the forces, and other thing we have to transform from one component to other component. So that for this transformation of these forces and other velocities, we have to make them to unite them. We have to unite them and make them to function as a single unit. So for that we have to make the assembly. Okay, to make a car, whole component of the car, we have to do the assembly. Okay, assembly of all the components. And if you want to function the car as a single unit, you have to unite different components, and they will function as a single unit to make the car run smoothly, right? Uh, we are we are manufacturing those components, but that components are not always in the exact dimensions. That is the issue. So this is the limitations of manufacturing processes. We are nowadays in the modern manufacturing processes and modern manufacturing concepts or quality concepts, we are trying to reduce this limitation. But we have to accept that the flaws present here. So the flaws means we cannot be able to produce the components with the exact dimensions, right? So that is why this term is indicated like this. No two parts can be produced with identical measurements by any manufacturing process. So that is this is the meaning of this particular statement. And in any production process, regardless of how well it is designed or how carefully it is maintained, a certain amount of variation will be exist. So again, these two statements are interrelated. What how beautifully you can design. So how tight tolerance you can give. That is the term I'm using the term tolerance here. So whatever dimension you are giving, it is very difficult to achieve the exact dimension, right? Exact dimension. For example, if you take a rod, cylindrical rod, we can say it is a shaft. If you as a design engineer, you have mentioned as 20 mm diameter and 200 mm length. If you want, that is in your machine, that is drawing, you have mentioned this is the dimension 20 mm diameter and 200 mm length. You have to fabricate that shaft because you have carried out various stress analysis and strain analysis, and based upon the stress and strain analysis, you have arrived with this dimension. But unfortunately, the manufacturing process and the equipments available in your shop floor not capable to produce exact 20 mm diameter and 200 mm length. So so it should not restrict you to progress and to produce the particular component. So as a design engineer, you have to use some allowances, or you have to use some flexibilities, and you have to redo the stress and strain analysis and come up with these flexibilities. And these flexibilities are called tolerances, right? These tolerances you're intentionally giving to the manufacturing unit, whatever may be the manufacturing unit. That is, see, this is the flexibility I'm giving to you. That is the range I'm giving to you. That is the what is the lower acceptable. That is deviation from the basic size or actual size. The basic size of the shaft, for example, in our example, 20 mm diameter. So the basic size, how much deviation, upper deviation and the lower deviation of this dimension is acceptable. So you have to mention in the drawing. This is the tolerance range. So in the diameter itself and lengthwise itself, you have to mention the tolerance range. This is called the tolerance range. So you have to mention clearly in the drawing, and it should be communicated to the that is fabricator or machinist, and they will read from the drawing that okay, these dimensional variations is acceptable. Variations are acceptable. Okay, this is called tolerances. We are intentionally giving and accepting that it is not no component can be exactly produced with dimensions, exact dimensions as per the machine drawing. So how these variations are arising? So these variations arises from improperly adjusted machines, operator error, tool wear, and defective raw materials. So these are the impact on factors. Because of these factors, these deviations are occurring. That for these reasons, we are giving this tolerance level for the basic dimension. Okay, so improper adjustment machines. So if you mention your machines, manufacturing machines, maybe a CNC lathe, CNC milling machine, or whatever may be a conventional lathe or milling machine, or drilling machine, whatever manufacturing machine or machining, whatever machine. These machines should be properly maintained. If you are not properly maintained or calibrated, then they are not fulfilling the exact objective of the particular what's the machining process. So what will happen? It will not because due to noises like unacceptable vibration, for the spindles and other things. These will make you to restrict the achievement of the exact dimensional accuracy, right? So this is the improper adjust, because these are reason for the improperly adjusted machines. And operational error, these are purely based upon human error. If the this labor is not perfectly properly trained or skilled labor, or many factors are affecting the human error. So because of this human error, we cannot be able to achieve the accurate dimension. And the tool wear, because we are using the subtractive manufacturing process. Now here, everything we are dealing with the subtractive manufacturing process. In subtractive manufacturing process, best example is machining. And in machining, we are using the solid tools, and solid tools are in contact with the workpiece materials, and they are impacting the workpiece materials and removing the unwanted material, and subtracting from the subtracting this material from the bulk material, and we are getting a final dimension. So because these solid tools are in contact with the workpiece material, because of this constant contact for a long run, every tool has in some tool life. If you are not, if the tool life is getting exceeded, what will happen due to this excessive usage, and what this loss of material and the change of dimension and profile occur in the solid tools, and these are called the loss of material and dimensional change are called tool failure, otherwise called tool wear, right? Because of this tool wear, we cannot be able to achieve the accurate dimension, because if the tool should be perfect, our piece should be automatically we can achieve the perfect dimension. So because of this tool wear, we cannot be able to achieve the accurate dimension. And defective raw material, that also we can control, but it is not in our hand. So those who are supplying the raw material for you, you have to do the quality check before you have to start using these raw materials. Some casting defects or some other manufacturing defects which are leads to so premature failure of the material, or you have to find some hardness variation or any other properties variation, instead of keeping the particular hardness of if because of this improper manufacturing process, the hardness may rise to some other extent, so it leads to the difficult machining, and we will not be able to achieve the accurate dimension, right? So these are the factors that directly affecting the achievement of the accurate dimensions. Therefore, we have to include the term tolerances in the design stage itself, and considering these factors, okay. And even though these factors should be minimized, okay, the tolerance is given means we are not accepting the flaws. That means we are accepting the reality. Okay, there's a two different, there is a difference between this. So tolerances are not the meaning or symbol of accepting the flaws, and we are accepting the reality. And that reality, even though it is a reality, these terms can be these factors can be minimized at the shop floor or in the manufacturing unit. So that is a quality control plays important role. Six Sigma, total quality management, and other concepts we are employing to minimize that the impact of these factors. Okay, that is a different subject we're going to study in the future years. So these variations are referred as assignable causes. Okay, and these are called assignable causes, and it can be identified and controlled. So it can be controlled in the manufacturing unit, right? So the same statement, it is represented here. It is very difficult to produce the exact size or basic size. This is for bulk manufacturing or traditional manufacturing. Another thing is there, non-traditional manufacturing or micron level manufacturing is there. Even though here, this in micron level manufacturing, we are removing the material in micron scale. So we can, we can keep very high tight tolerances when compared to the traditional manufacturing or bulk manufacturing, right? So especially in the machining process, micro machining is the best example. Compared with the traditional machining process, micro machining removes the material in micron level. So therefore, we can almost we can get the exact size. This is the advantage of micro machining. So because it is working on the micron scale, remove of material in the micron scale, but that involves different manufacturing routes, machining routes, that they are called non-traditional machining process. If you are applying this non-traditional machining process, we can we can remove the material in micron scale, and we can able to achieve which is near to this exact size of as per the dimension, right? So this non-traditional machining process is a separate subject and an interesting subject. Maybe in the future classes you might learn about this non-traditional or unconventional machining process, and you can appreciate the benefits of them, right, in compared with the traditional machining process. So this permissible level of tolerance depends on the functional requirements and which cannot be compromised. So we are giving the tolerance. That means that I already told you, tolerance means we are not accepting the flaws, we are accepting the reality. Therefore, for what we are designing the particular component, that objective should not be deviated. Okay, it should be satisfied. Even though we are giving the tolerance, these tolerance ranges also, that as a design engineer, you can come up with the proper stress and strain analysis only. Okay, so based upon that only we can able to give these flexibilities or tolerances. So by adopting these tolerances, the final objective or function of the particular product cannot be deviated. Okay, it is fulfilled properly. So this is one of the example, the shaft example. Shaft is nothing but a cylindrical. It is shaft can be cylindrical, square, or it may be a rectangular cross section. Because shaft is a component which is transmitting the power from one end to another end. Here, why I am saying it is cylindrical, you can see the diameter. They are using the term diameter. So it is the cylindrical shaft, and the cylindrical shaft has a diameter of 40 mm. You can see the plus and minus symbols and 0.02 mm. And how we can read this plus and minus symbol professionally, plus or minus, okay, plus or minus 40 plus or minus 0.02 mm. This is the professional way to read this line. That is 40 plus or this term, right? So the shaft has the basic size. This is 40 mm is the basic size, and this is the accurate size, exact size as per the design we need to achieve. But we are not able to achieve because of some that factors we have already discussed. So some limits we are giving, providing upper limit and lower limit, that is 0.02 mm, right? So deviation we can able to give, that is, for example, how much, what will be the maximum acceptable achievable diameter of the particular shaft means 40 plus 0.02, which is 40.02 mm, and the lower limit will be 40 minus 0.02, 39.998 mm. So if you produce that shaft in this range from 39.98 to 40.02 mm, in this range, it is acceptable range. So that is the meaning of these tolerances. Okay, and this permissive tolerance is if you subtract these two things, you can get 0.04 mm. This is the range. 0.04 mm is the range. Within this range, if you produce the shaft, so it will fulfill the final objective of part it exactly designed. Okay, so this is the tolerance range, and this is the example for the tolerances. So you can see the machine here. In this machine equipment, it is a vice-like thing, and vice it is going to hold a product, a component here, and this is the handle, and this is the shaft. You can see how this whole setup is assembled. Okay, this is one component, and it is like a rack, and this rack like component which is going to move up and down, and it will fix the component which is beneath, right? And if you want to move this section, this rack section, you have to use some handle like this, a shaft, and this is another shaft, and the shaft will be again some teeth will be engraved here, and if you turn this shaft, if you rotate the shaft, and it will the teeth that is machined in the shaft engaged with this rack, and this rack will move up and down based upon the clockwise and anti-clockwise movement rotation of this particular shaft. So how to rotate this shaft anti-clockwise and anti-clockwise? Using this handle, right? So now these components, this handle, the shaft, and this rack, and this column, okay, this column are supporting unit, are different components, and they are assembled together to serve a common objective. It is holding of a particular component, a product, right here. Not product, it's a component, another component, okay, or maybe a workpiece. For example, it is a workpiece. To hold the workpiece firmly, this whole machine unit is acting like a single unit, which comprises these components, this supporting unit, and the shaft, handle, and the rack. Okay, you can see the separate that supporting unit only, right? So here we are assembled all the components. So for assembling these, we have to give the tolerances. The whole, how much hole diameter you have to give, and what will be the diameter of this hole, and what will be the tolerance we have to give for this to free or tight assembly of the particular shaft, and what will be the dimensional tolerances will be given to this pocket-like section to make that rack-like this rack component to move up and down. These things should be now the tolerance is playing important role here to make it a smooth functioning of this whole unit, right? So this is how these tolerances and dimensions are indicated in the machine drawing, and this designer mentioned in the machine drawing, and this manufacturer that machining unit, they will study the machine drawing, and they will manufacture, and the quality control engineer will ensure that all the dimensions are exactly followed or not. So this is the graph and comparison. This is called a trade-off. Otherwise, other name is a trade-off between the tolerance and the manufacturing cost. You can see this line, okay? So the steady decline of this, this is the cost line. This is the cost line. If the tolerance ranges are high, very low, that is if tolerance ranges, so there is a loose tolerance, otherwise called, if you have a very loose tolerance, very flexible tolerance, the manufacturing cost of the particular components will be less. And if you increase if you tight the tolerance, if you keep very close tolerance with the accurate value, accurate sizes, for example, 40.001 mm only acceptable means manufacturing and achieving that the particular dimension requires some skilled labor and high sophisticated machining equipment. So the cost of manufacturing is maybe increase because of this achieving the tight tolerances. If achieving the loose tolerance is no problem, whatever machine condition, and we can adjust it, and whatever may be the skill of the labor, we can adjust it because the tolerance range are very high and that is very loose. So manufacturing cost, ultimately the manufacturing cost will be getting reduced. This is the trade-off between the manufacturing cost and work tolerances. These are the classification of tolerances: unilateral tolerance, and bilateral tolerance, and compound tolerance, and geometrical tolerance. Right? So these are classification. So unilateral, when the tolerance distribution is only on one side of the basic size, either positive or negative. You can refer these images. In these images, you can see, you can able to see these are the basic size. 40 mm is the basic size. So it is a negative side. That is otherwise only the reduction of size or addition of size or neutral size. Okay, or both means something, some 0 to 1 number. So in the next example you can see, right, this unilateral tolerance which is negative. So this line is a 0 line, and you can see lower this green block is the tolerance zone, and in this tolerance zone you can see the lower limit. Now we are seeing the negative unilateral tolerance, okay, concept. So lower limit and higher limit. This tolerance zone is below the basic size. So 0 line means the basic size. Basic size means accurate size. Now you can see here, above the basic size it is positive, and below the basic size it is negative. So that basic size is referred as 0 line, and in the negative unilateral tolerance, which is lies below the 0 line. And for example, if the shaft is 50 mm diameter, and as per the negative unilateral tolerance, the tolerance range will vary from plus 0 to, that is 0 to minus here, minus the example it is given, minus 0.06. That is, we have to minus the 50 minus 0.06, how much value you are getting. So this tolerance only you have to keep. You should not increase the size of the diameter above 50. That is the meaning of it. You can reduce. A reduction of the 50 mm is acceptable, but increasing even 0.001 mm also not acceptable, right? Even though you are reducing that diameter, up to this range only you have to reduce. Below this range is not acceptable. This is the meaning of unilateral negative tolerances. And here, another example, the same 50 mm diameter, this is positive, right? This positive means 0 line, it is above the 0 line, it is in positive. This one, another one, example, this is positive, and we are dealing with the negative. There is, it is well below, it is maybe in this example, this tolerance zone is, the upper limit is that 0 line, and from the 0 line we are reducing the dimension. But here in the second case, this is case 1 and case 2. The case 1, case 2 are both belongs to the negative unilateral tolerance. And here in the case 2, this tolerance zone is kept well below the 0 line, okay. And here you can see this lower limit and upper limit both are in the minus ranges, okay. So you have to reduce that diameter up to this range to this range only, like this, okay. But here in case 2 you have to keep 50 mm but you should not exceed 50 mm, but you have to reduce up to this range only. It is acceptable in the case 1, but in the case 2, you have to you should not exceed 50 mm. At the meanwhile, you can reduce the diameter within this range to this range. This is the case 2 type of unilateral negative tolerance, right? And unilateral positive tolerance, that is above the basic size, that is 0 line. And case 1, you can see the same thing. The tolerance zone is exactly touching on the 0 line, and from we can increase the dimension, but you should not decrease the dimension. This is the concept. This is the variation. The variation in the dimension is on only one direction. Okay, only one direction. The variation dimension is not in the both direction. It is one direction. Either it is positive direction or otherwise it is in the negative direction. So now in previous example we have seen the negative direction. Now here seen the positive direction. In this case 1, we can increase the size of the diameter from 50 to some positive range. That is here in this example they are given 0.04 mm. We can improve, we can increase. Okay, we can keep it as such, but we should not go beyond this 0.04. And in the case 2, we can increase the diameter within this range, from this range to this range. You should not go beyond this one, and should not go below this one and go beyond that one. So in both ranges, top, lower and upper, both ranges are in the positive zone. Okay, this is the example of this unilateral positive directional tolerances. So I hope you can understand this. In further video, I will explain about the bilateral tolerances, compound tolerances, and geometrical tolerance in detail. Okay, so now we're winding up. So we'll meet in the next session. Thank you.